guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Serena and today I'm going to be talking to you about a few things that you should know about this Gemini new moon that we have today. Watch this video. Okay guys, welcome back to my channel. Let's honestly just get right into it. Today we are talking about the Gemini new moon that we have going on here. So as most of you guys know, I am not an astrologer. However, I do have very significant placements with Cancer being my moon sign and Leo being my sun sign, which those two signs are at home in the signs in which they exist in my chart. So that means I feel very significantly what's going on in our moons and our solar systems and our planets. I'm very connected to that. So this is what I kind of like to call my intuitive astrology reading. So for this Gemini new moon, so if you guys are not already familiar, new moons are essentially planting seeds is how I like to think of it. So it's when we are setting our intentions. It is, deciding what we want to cultivate, whereas full moons typically are more kind of about celebrating or reaping what you've sown or cultivating the fruits of your labors. So new moons and full moons are very different in the power that they have. You think about the full moon, we see the whole entire moon, the whole thing is illuminated and lit up. It's about wholeness. Whereas the new moon, we don't actually see the new moon. So this idea is about what's underground, what's hidden, what's not seen. And so when we think about planting seeds, when something has to grow, it comes from the earth, right? So that seed has to be put in this darkness, right? This dark place in order to blossom and bloom. So that's kind of the idea behind the new moons. So getting into Gemini, we are in Gemini, such a beautiful sign, and there's so many misconceptions about Geminis being crazy or being two-faced, and this is not what this video is about. So what I'm really going to look at in this video are archetypes. So Gemini specifically is ruled by the planet Mercury. The planet Mercury deals with communication. So if you have not already watched my Mercury retrograde video, I will place it above here that you can watch. And the idea here, guys, is Mercury is all about communication. It's about how we express ourselves, right? It's that throat chakra. Gemini is an air sign, so it's about the mind. It's about our thoughts. It's about what we can't see. So guys, this is a time where we are really asking ourselves, where do I show up in the world? How do I communicate my authentic truth? How do I want to be perceived? How am I perceived, right? And so we have Gemini, which are these two polarities. Here's Gemini of how do I want to be perceived, and then here's Gemini on how do others already perceive me. And so what we're doing is we're kind of mirroring these two. We're mirroring and we're marrying them, okay? So it's both. It's not just one or the other, because again, that's the two polarities. Mirroring is saying that there's separation. Marrying is saying that they're one and the same. So this new moon is all about setting your intentions for how you'd like to show up in the world. So maybe right now you have a creative burst to birth something new into the world. This is a great time for that. So actually, me and my partner went to a wedding over the weekend, and what a better way to illustrate a Gemini new moon than a wedding. I didn't even think of it initially because we've known that we've had this wedding coming up for several months now. And the crazy thing is, it just happens to be on this Gemini new moon. And it's the idea, right? These polarities. So in this wedding, we have man, we have woman coming together. We have even the clothing, right? The symbology of the clothing. We have the white and we have the black coming together. And, these ideas that it's a union, right? So take that and think of it in your own life. What two parts of yourself are you marrying together right now? A lot of people in this time are, after going through these 2 years where we were really kind of like in the dark, in the shadows, in the room. For a lot of people, it was a really rough 2 years, and now we're finally kind of coming out of it. So what parts of yourself from the past have you done the work on, and what parts of yourself, where are you marrying these two things together to really become like the newest version of yourself, right? Because a lot of times when we release things of the past, we still want to keep certain elements of ourselves as we move forward, right? So as we're integrating all of these life lessons and all of these, traumatic experiences, all of these past relationships, we're deciding, we're planting seeds on what we would like to take with us into the future and how we can balance that, right? The other really cool thing about Mercury is, okay, so the equivalent to Mercury in ancient, I believe ancient Greece is Hermes. And Hermes is the messengers of the god, right? So not only are we talking about communication, but we're also talking about divinely inspired communication, right? So where are we not speaking our authentic divine truth? Or maybe how are we allowing that divine communication to come through and speak to others? So it's about releasing some of that control and some of that, it needs to come from me, right? Even this video that I'm recording right now, as I'm saying these words, as these words are coming out of my mouth, this is not Serena talking. Like, these are divine words that are coming through because this is what the collective needs to hear. So some of this process that we're going to be feeling around this new moon is, if you are having creative endeavors that you're birthing into this world, then know that some of that is divinely inspired, and that you don't have to fear so much birthing these things into the world, because the credit's not on you. It's on your higher self, spirit. It's on the creator. It's on source. So we don't have to put so much pressure on ourselves to like make it all happen. Like for myself, I'll use a quick example. If you have not watched some of my previous videos, I am starting a women's meditation circle. The first one is on June 12th. If you'd like to sign up, I'll put the information down below, and I'd love to have you there. Right now I have about 7 different time zones that I'm working with. I'm in South Africa. Many of my friends are in the States, but I also have some friends in South America, some friends in Europe. So I'm working with all of these different time zones, getting all of these beautiful women from all over the world together to just commune in celebration of this sisterhood. And so if you'd like to sign up, check the thing down below. But really, you know what? I've been hesitating. I've had this idea for like some months now, but I've been hesitating really getting it together and pulling the trigger, because like I'm so like a little bit nervous, right? And I was like, I don't know, like what if it doesn't come out the way I want it to? It's going to be on Zoom, so it's less personal and blah, 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 blah. But this past week, things have just been falling into place. And maybe you're feeling like this as well, that things are just kind of like, okay, this piece is coming together, this piece, and it's all inspired and it all feels really aligned. And every time you check with spirit, every time you mention it to your friends, like everyone's like, yes, this is the thing. So go with that, because it's not on you anymore, it's on spirit. So I finally, sent the email out. The thing's official. We have our first date is June 12th. So I'm very excited about this, but it felt so aligned. It was like the pressure came off of my shoulders and off of my chest and moved into this space where it was like spirit was controlling the whole thing. So if you're dealing with that right now, that is this Gemini new moon speaking to you and saying, hey, guess what? We got this. So do the things that make you feel inspired, because this is what this is all about. And by planting and creating this intention right now, the things that you're going to be able to reap from that down the line are going to be huge. They're going to be massive, and they're going to be so inspired, and you never know what's really going to come from the seeds that you're planting right now. So keep in mind that that's super important. The other things that I wanted to talk about is this idea, right? So we talked about Gemini being like this twin energy, being like this mirroring, and then also being this communication. And I'm going to reference the wedding again, right? Like, what is the number one, almost most important thing that people think of when they think of a wedding? Like, what's the part that really ties you together? It's your vows, right? So what are you vowing to yourself right now? Again, planting seeds. What is it that you would want to cultivate down the road? What are your vows to yourself? Our word is so sacred, and this is why it's so important to be specific and to be conscious and to be careful with the things that you're saying, because I create as I speak. That's what abracadabra means, is I create as I speak. So all of us do this. And so, right, this very beautiful symbol of a wedding, of merging of the twin souls, right? And our vows. What is it that we look into others' eyes and say to them with truth, with passion, with purity, with love? And are we doing the same thing to ourselves, right? So Gemini, we have this duality, but we also have this mirror effect. So things that are super important to keep in mind right now is when you are seeing things reflected back to you, whether that's conflict, whether that's love, joy, like no matter what it is, think about, where does that live inside of me, and how can I address that in a way that is positive, or in a way that's healing, or in a way that is just at least truthful, right? Because we can't always be as kind as we would like to be, but we can always honor our authentic truth in a way that's compassionate, right? We're never going to agree with everybody, but we can, respectfully, dignified, move into that space a little bit more consistently. So what I want to talk about is this idea that, what are you vowing? What are your vows to yourself? And maybe you even want to sit down and journal that, and journal and say, what am I promising of myself? So often we put our experiences and our happiness and our fulfillment into other people. And while that's not wrong, but like, where are we showing up for us right now? And where are we merging our own dualities? Where are we saying this part about myself is bad, this part about myself is good? Like, new moons are so good for doing that inner shadow work and releasing some of those things, so that you can cultivate what you'd really like to see in the next coming months. And asking yourself those questions. How am I communicating to myself? Is it in a loving way? Or do I need to work on that? Or where am I communicating with others? How am I showing up? Am I showing up as my authentic self? Or am I showing up as a smaller version of myself? Am I shrinking down? And this is a really important thing to keep in mind right now, because there's so many energetic shifts happening on the planet that you may feel like you're one person one day and resonating with a certain truth one day, and then the next day you're a completely new person, and you're like, well, how am I supposed to keep my authentic truth? And you know what? It's about what feels right to you in that moment. There will be certain moments that you might not speak up against something. And as long as that feels right to you in that moment, then you're honoring yourself. But what you also need to keep in mind is that moment is different from even 20 minutes from now. It's different from even 1 second from now. All those moments are different moments, and you have to honor what feels right to you. So if you are shifting right now very quickly through timelines, or shifting through different parts of yourself, just know that that's very normal, especially for now, being in a sign of Gemini, where we see these big polarities. Super, super normal. And I want to take even a step backwards, because we talked so much about our words and how we create as we speak, but I also want to talk about what becomes before the word, which is our thoughts. Keep a close eye on your thoughts right now. Be mindful of what you are thinking. So for me, this actually showed up as a really old pattern that I thought I was so done with. I was like, I have not seen this thing in like 2 years maybe. So when I was young, I had a traumatic event that caused me to really be a little bit hypochondriac-ish about my body, and about if my body's okay. And this happened when I was very young, so I wasn't able to like really identify if I was okay or where the line was, right? So if most of you guys don't know, recently I have shifted my location from Chicago to South Africa. So I'm now in South Africa. This is where I'm coming to you live from, and this is where I'm going to be for the next couple of months. But with that being said, you know, I'm eating different foods. I have a different partner that I've been with. I am not drinking the same amount of water or drinking more coffee, and all of these little things that we think are so small and minuscule. For me, I'm a highly sensitive person, so like what I put into my body really can affect it big time. And so I'll give you guys a short little example. This is going to be, for maybe some of you, I don't know, too much information, but a couple weeks ago I got a UTI, and I've only ever had one once before in my life, and that was like 7 or 8 years ago. And I knew it as soon as I could feel it coming on. I was like, oh, this is what that is. And so I knew it was because I hadn't been drinking enough water. You know, I'm with a new partner, so there's that. Let's just get real candid here. Yeah, what it comes down to is the fact that I wasn't caring for my body in a way that I knew was helpful for my body, right? And so because I was so involved in this new space, this new time zone, new foods, new everything, it really took a toll on my body. My body was telling me that. So I went, got the antibiotics that I needed, took them, but there was still that fear, right? And I was still having those same old mental patterns of like, am I okay? Is it okay? Is my yoni okay? Is my vagina okay? What's going on here? I don't know, you know. And even though I could feel that the symptoms had subsided, there was like still like the mental unease of the fact that there's something wrong with my body. And for me, this was such an old pattern. It was so hard for me to distinguish it at first. So maybe this is also what you are experiencing if you are seeing these old thought patterns coming up, and maybe they're at a deeper level than they used to be. So sometimes that means they're harder to catch, but sometimes it also means they're quicker to move through, right? So I definitely went through a whole shedding process, and it really came down to this element, which I'll give you this advice. Ask yourself, what do you want it to be? So whatever thoughts that you might be struggling with right now, whatever showing up in your reality that you might be struggling with or having problems with, ask yourself, what do I really want this to be? Because you have the power to create your entire reality. And with that comes the power to use your thoughts to create it first. So I started to ask myself the questions, okay, I'm worried about my body, but what do I want it to be, right? I want my body to be healthy. I want it to be strong. I want to feel comfortable in my body, right? That's a big one, especially with feminine issues. Is I want to feel comfortable. I don't want to feel agitated. I don't want to feel like I'm in the wrong place at the wrong time. I want to feel comfortable and secure in my body. And so as soon as I made that decision, you guys, as soon as I decided, like, look, I love myself, this is what I want for my body, everything shifted. It was just like instantaneously, everything was like, boop. Okay, we're good, we're done, everything's good. And you know, like all of the symptoms I thought I was having, I realized were all in my mind. And because the turmoil that was happening wasn't actually in my physical body, it was in my mind being projected into my reality so I could look at it. And all I had to do was become consciously aware of those mental processes that were no longer serving me and letting them go. So this is especially cautious right now with this Gemini new moon, is look at your mental processes. Just clearly look at them and ask yourself, what do you want them to be? We place so much focus on what we are or what we think they are. but ask yourself, what do I want to create? What do I want to see in this circumstance, in this relationship, in myself? And create from that place. New moons are all about what are we creating? So ask yourself, what do you want? You can have anything at any moment. So what is it that you really want? And start from there. What a fun video. I wonder how this, how's this Gemini new moon going for you guys? I don't have much Gemini in my chart, so I don't feel a whole lot of that Gemini energy. I definitely feel comfortable, you know, like expressing myself and speaking my truth, but I think that comes for me from my Leo side. But I'm also introverted as well. So let me know how this new moon is going for you guys. What are you feeling? What lessons are you working on? I'm going to make a meditation. I'm going to be releasing that in 2 days. And this meditation is going to be about basically this idea of merging the dualistic self. So this meditation, I'm going to release it on YouTube, so look out for that. That's going to be coming up in the next couple of days, and I'm really excited about that because I think it's the perfect energy also for this Gemini new moon, because what's more consistent than noticing these two polar sides and then being able to like meet in the middle? Again, that perfect union, that wedding, that marrying of the two. It's such a beautiful thing. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you're new, make sure to like, comment, subscribe down below. I'd love to have you on my channel. Again, if you're looking for a women's meditation circle, I will be hosting mine, my first, June 12th. I've done other meditation circles like this before, but those were all in person. So this will be online. You can come connect with women all over the world. So it's amazing. You don't need to have any special like prerequisites. You don't have to be an expert meditator, nothing like that. So all are welcome, especially if you resonate with the feminine energies. This is a sister circle, so I'm not dismissing men or gender non-conforming individuals, but just know we are going to be working with more feminine energies, and that's just where my energy is called. So if you'd like to join that, I will put the information below. I'd love to have you there. Thank you so much for watching. We will see you next time. Big love.